full moon, December 15th, 2024 at 1:02 a.m. Pacific Standard Time at 24 degrees Gemini. And also on that exact same day, Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, is going to go direct, yay, at 12:56 p.m. at about 6.5 degrees Sag. So that axis between Sag and Gemini is going to get a lot of work out, as we've been talking about. And I also want to just mention that on the 14th, the moon is going to conjunct Jupiter. So anytime between the 13th and 15th, go out there at night, look for the moon, and if you see a bright light somewhere in that vicinity of the moon, that's going to be Jupiter. So just remember, stars twinkle and planets are just a steady stream of light. And also remember your goals that you set on November 30th for that new moon in Sag. So at this time you should be thinking about, is this working, or should I get something totally new going on for the new moon December 30th in Capricorn? Or should I just massage things or just throw it out and come up with some new ideas? Now with this moon in Gemini and Mercury going direct, we're going to feel like there's a big emotional dike has just broken, and that we can start to talk about our feelings. And what's adding to this is that Venus up in Aquarius is opposing Mars in Leo on December 12th, about 5 to 6 degrees there. So that Mercury in Sag is fire is going to be trying Venus in Aquarius and air, and or sextiling, and trying Mars in Leo, which is a fire sign. So we're going to be coming into this full moon with a lot of issues going on between people back and forth. Now it can be partners, of course, but it could be siblings, family members, business partners, and even neighbors with Gemini there. So between the 12th and 19th, until Venus trines Jupiter, expect a lot of communication to be coming out. But it needs to be done. It may not be easy, but we've got to talk about these things. So just remember to listen with honesty as well as speak with honesty. Okay, so if you want to know more, just go to my channel and watch the expanded version of this, and we'll talk to you next time. So bye for now. Bye. Well, welcome to the expanded version of the full moon in Gemini for 2024. And the first thing I want to address, well, first let me just say, for entertainment only, okay, is remember I said to look for clues about what Pluto going into Aquarius might mean. And remember, Pluto's the energy that brings up all the darkness and corruption and ugliness that we just don't want to look at. And Aquarius is a sign of the masses, humanitarianism, technology, and how that might manifest. Well, I think we got a clue here the last week or so. And first, let me just say that I don't think violence is appropriate in any circumstance, no matter what. I think it's wrong. And I don't think health care should be for profit. You know, I think doctors and nurses should make plenty of good money, that's for sure. They studied a long time. They work weird hours. They've got a lot of responsibility. But, and if I sound a little cold and ruthless, remember, I do apologize, but when we talk about the dark side of Aquarius, we're talking about cold and ruthless. I also just want to, so keep that in mind too. And I also just want to apologize if I ever make any off-color jokes or anything like that. When I get uncomfortable, I can tend to say kind of stupid things once in a while. So just remember that. I'm a Sag. Remember, Sag is the key phrase for Sag is open mouth, insert foot. So, so just bear with me. But here in the States, we had a young man who assassinated a private healthcare CEO on December 4th, almost exactly when Mercury opposed Jupiter. Now, we've already talked a lot about Jupiter, that axis of Jupiter, Jupiter down in Gemini and Mercury up in Sagittarius. And so I've talked about that in a lot of earlier videos. But just remember that that Mercury opposing Jupiter just means big, overblown ideas, confidence about your, what you're thinking, your plans, and all that kind of stuff. And I honestly think this young man did have those Aquarian humanitarian service to humanity thoughts in his mind, even though it's not cool to kill someone, that's for sure. But he did bring the spotlight, Pluto, onto these this healthcare situation that we have here in the United States. And that particular company that fellow was the CEO of, they deny just over 30% of all claims that are sent into them, and that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of people are being hurt and that kind of thing from that sort of thing. And he also, that same CEO, made over $10 million in 2023 putting his policies through and that kind of thing. So just to kind of let you know what a little background there is. Now this assassin, he was 26 years old. So that's just the beginning of his Saturn return. And if you know anything about astrology, we really see the Saturn return as a big mark in a person's life when they go from being a child to adult. So in astrology, we really don't consider people to be adults until they're in their 30s, actually. So just to let you know about that too. Now, I haven't actually seen his birthday from a reputable source. There are some floating around online, but I did see his fake driver's license, and I jotted that birthday down as, that was his persona for that event in his life, because he took on a new identity. And if he picked out that birthday, it was really interesting because that birthday was July 21st, 1998. And that is right at the end of Cancer, beginning of Leo. Remember, Pluto is just crossed over into Aquarius. So his persona was getting a Pluto transit. So that's a little weird. And finally, the gun he used, he made, or somehow got, it was made through 3D printing. And how, modern technology is that, right? So, or new technology. So very Aquarian in that regard too. So I'm just wondering if this is, and I hope it's not, a sort of a precursor of what we've got to look forward to with Pluto going into Aquarius. So this vigilante, especially towards corporations and that corrupt corporations, if we've got that to look forward to. Okay, so sorry to go on about this, but I just really felt like this was a big thing to bring out. So let's go back to the full moon in Gemini, and we'll talk about Mercury, Gemini's ruler, going direct a little bit more. And so I'm going to put you on pause so I can bring the camera down. We can look at the wheel. Okay, so here we go. Now we're seeing that the sun is up here at Sagittarius at about 24 degrees, and it's opposing the moon down in Gemini. Same degrees, and that's why the moon is full, is because the sun's shining its lights down on it. And again, one of the first things I want you to do is to really think about what is your sensitivity to Mercury retrogrades. Now for me, when Mercury goes direct, I do have a sense of relief, basically, or when any planet changes sign. But really look at, seeing what it's activating in your chart. Now, if you went through this Mercury retrograde and didn't feel really anything at all, good for you. But maybe you've got planets in Capricorn and nothing in Sag or mutable signs or something like that. So do give it a couple of cycles and to see how you do react to Mercury going retrograde. It's the quickest and most obvious of all of our planets up there for the retrograde. So right now it's down here. It's about at 6 degrees Sag. All right. Now also keep in mind that Mars is going retrograde too, and it's down here in the very, very early degrees of Leo. And it's going to be going back into Cancer, and it's not going to go direct until February 23rd at 17 degrees Cancer. So, and we've got Pluto up here. Remember, good old Pluto just going into Aquarius. So I'm not even sure it's even at 1 degree yet of Aquarius. So it's getting that opposition from Mars. And remember, that can be pretty brutal. That's a sign of brute force. So that assassination is a Mars-Pluto thing for sure. I can't get away from that. But also remember with that Mars retrograde that that's going to be back and forth 3 times with that opposition to Pluto. All right. And just to give you another example, I think I already said that Mars typically moves 1 degree every 2 days, whereas, Mercury is moving 1 to 2 degrees every day. Well, we've also, just to give you another comparison, we've got Neptune up here at 27 degrees Pisces, and it's one of those outer planets, so it moves really, really, really slowly. So, and especially when any planet changes direction, retrograde or direct, and remember, it went direct on December 7th, so it is going forward now from 27 degrees, but so slowly, that's for sure. So it's been sitting at 27 degrees Pisces since basically the middle of October. So, and it's not going to get off that degree until the 1st of February. So 3.5 months it's going to be sitting at 27 degrees Pisces. Okay. So keep that in mind, that's a slow mover, and Neptune is so subtle. Sometimes it can be hard to pick up on its energy. Okay, now we do also have Venus here that's just come out of Capricorn, and it came by on December 7th, and it gave Pluto a little kiss. But as I said in the short, it's opposing on December 12th, it's opposing that Mars energy there. So that's that, back and forth, a opposition with partners, siblings, anything like that. And then I wanted to just show you, because I think sometimes when you see these things, you can get a little bit better energy or memory of this. And here we had, Mercury at early degrees Sag, and it's trine that Mars energy in fiery Leo, so fire to fire makes a triane. And in the middle of this is this sextile to Venus. So, like I said, we're going to be getting some help here from Mercury, but really let Mercury go direct before it really, we can really feel that energy. And also, like I said, with Jupiter down here in Gemini, we're going to get, since Venus is in an air sign, Aquarius, we're going to get that trine from Aquarius to Gemini to Gemini, and also Jupiter there. So that's going to happen on December 19th. So give that energy, that back and forth, difficult energy, of communicating and Mercury retrograde. Let Mercury go direct, and let that Venus come up in trine Jupiter, so that we can get some real good information going, and not feel quite so lost. With Mercury retrograde, and there's that expression people say, "Oh, me and my spouse, we never go to bed angry." Well, with Mercury retrograde, you may think you're not angry, but you might wake up the next morning and somebody might say, "Now, what exactly did you mean by blah, blah, blah?" And you might have to keep discussing. So there's going to be a few days there, especially the 12th through the 15th, 16th, where you're having to maybe discuss things, go over things again another time. And then before you really get things sorted out. Okay. And then the last thing I really want to mention to you, I want to mention this Neptune again, sitting here at 27 degrees. Well, remember this opposition between the sun and moon. The full moon was at 24 degrees. And all, Sag is mutable fire, Gemini is mutable air, Pisces is mutable water. So Neptune is squaring this full moon. So what is that going to be bringing forward for us? Well, we could have a little bit more misinformation or just confusion, or things seem foggy. So I would really encourage you to really focus on your spirituality and getting that. If you're having difficulties meditating or something like that, this would be a great time to really focus on what can you do. But just remember that Neptune can be pretty deceptive at times. So again, with getting information, with Mercury coming up there again, check, and recheck. Not only what you're saying, be careful about that, but also what you're hearing, what you're digesting, and that kind of thing. Okay, so I think that's enough for you to sort out. A lot is going on astrologically. If you're feeling like, oh my God, I don't know what to think of all this, I think it'll settle down and at least not be quite so complicated. But I hope you found this somewhat helpful for you. And just remember, as Dr. Zeus says, from there to here, from here to there, funny things are everywhere. And bye, you guys. And thank you so much. Oh, and I always forget to say, please like and subscribe. Okay, bye.